Item 17, Motion 8, regarding child abuse. Senator Jillian van Turnhout to move the motion. The Senator has 10 minutes.
Very much. Minister for Justice and Equality to the House. I've had the pleasure with working with the Minister when he was in the opposition on spokesperson and children, so I'm absolutely confident of his commitment to children's rights and child protection. And I am very happy that he is here to debate this important motion that has been put forward and that we move as the independent group. So the facts behind the motion. Why do we have this motion? You know, some people have been asking about this. This motion is about child pornography as clearly defined under Section 2 of the Child Trafficking and Pornography Act of 1998. The definition in the Act includes any visual representation that shows a child engaged in or being witness to explicit sexual activity, and where the dominant characteristic of visual representation is the depiction for a sexual purpose of the genital or anal region of a child. Child abuse material on the internet is child pornography, but it's also so much more than a single definition can encompass. The image or depiction is a culmination of at best one, and more than likely a series, of the most serious criminal offences known to our statute books, including rape, incest, assault, sadism, and bestiality. For each child abuse image produced, it can be expected that numerous offences are committed, as the online distribution of child abuse images exponentially multiplies the number of offences against the integrity of the child. A child abuse image is a crime scene. It's a digital record of sexual abuse being perpetrated against a child. And according to the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children, a staggering 69% of the victims who are depicted in child abuse images are between the ages of 0 and 10%. So 69% of the victims that we are talking about are under the age of 10. The sheer depravity and calculation of the offenders is such that they're increasingly targeting children who are at pre-speaking age because they cannot articulate the abuse that they are experiencing. Shockingly, we were told by an Interpol officer last week at our briefing that some of the children depicted in these images are so young that the nub of their umbilical cord is still visible. So, why are we proposing blocking? Because you can say, well, look, that's not where all child abuse is happening. Statistics show us about how abuse is very often by somebody trusted and known to the child. Happens in the home, by a close relative or a trusted family friend. And, you know, yes, the state should put its resources towards ensuring those children are protected. And I also acknowledge that many exchange of information and of these child abuse material happens off the internet or via other web like FTP protocols and such. And this is where our Garda Síochána resources need to be targeted. And what our motion is trying to do is to ensure that this crime can be blocked, that all our resources are not going towards this. The motion is intended to address a very specific reality, that there is a huge volume of requests made to access this child abuse material on the internet, intentionally or accidentally, through standard web pages throughout the world. In Norway, which is a slightly bigger population than Ireland, who have blocking in place, they get 12,000 requests a day for these pages. That's approximately 4.5 million requests a year. And New Zealand, who have it in place, from February 2010 to November 2011, they blocked 13.5 million requests. In the UK, BT's network alone blocks 40,000 requests a day. And, you know, some people say, well, it's decreasing on the internet. But just to give you an idea, again, of figures of what we're talking about. In 1995, which often people call as year zero for the internet, the boom hadn't fully erupted. Interpol calculated that there was about 4,000 images worldwide of child abuse images. And recent figures have really shown that this has greatly multiplied. And the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Centre database in the UK only says there is 850,000 distinct child abuse images stored in the UK. So it's not just a small issue that we're trying to get at a small number. And I don't say that blocking is going to sort it all out, but it is a very strong way to send a signal. Removal at source is the best solution. And where we can do that, and Ireland is trying to do that, where we can do that, fantastic. But when material is hosted on sites outside our jurisdiction, it's not always in our power to request a removal at source or to ensure that it is removed at source. We're forced to rely on other jurisdictions applying the same standard for removal at source as we apply here in Ireland. And that's the difficulty can be in rogue states where cooperation is not forthcoming or where it's not done in a reasonable time. So the blocking that we're proposing in our motion would give us this control, would put the control back into our hands and ensure there is consistency in our policy on child abuse material on the internet. It would send out a very clear message that child abuse material, whether its source is domestic or foreign, it will not be tolerated in Ireland. And I believe that this deterrent value cannot be overstated. I don't believe that we fully understand the extent of child abuse material available in Ireland, given the lack of public awareness about hotline.ie, where the public can actually report suspected illegal content that they encounter. And I think, certainly when we've been researching this issue in preparation for today, it's very much a spiral of abuse that takes place, where it starts with curiosity, but it has been proven to go down progressively from somebody curious going into being a trader. And if you were trying to equate it to something else today, I think on my way into here each day, there's the new speed thing on the road that tells me if I'm going over the speed limit, you know, with the numbers, and it deters me and I slow down. And it works. Every time it works. And it's about having a deterrent. So who is blocking? Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Italy, Malta, UK, Australia, New Zealand. In fact, all our mobile phone operators in Ireland are blocking as part of an EU agreement. The UK, as I said, is blocking. That means Northern Ireland is blocking all these child abuse material. I want to share just one case with you, and it came to light 14 months ago. It's a case where a child abuse image came to the attention of the US authorities as part of a domestic child pornography investigation. The image depicted a 2-year-old victim who was unknown in the US victim identification database. So a member of the team recognised in the background of the image that doll. That's not a traditional doll, that's a Dutch doll. That's absolutely Dutch doll. So they contacted the Dutch authorities. The Dutch authorities broadcast an image of the face of the child. The parents came forward. On investigation, they found out that a 27-year-old male nursery worker was perpetrating the crime of abuse against that child. And in fact, on further investigation, when they actually had to call all the parents together on a Sunday afternoon to a hotel to say, your child may have been at risk in this childcare place. The accused man has now admitted to abusing 87 children aged 2.5 years and younger. His partner is accused of facilitating child abuse and distributing this material, and an additional 11 men are accused of having shared and distributed the images. And the case will be going to trial this year. But this one image led to 87 child victims being identified, which is why a victim identification database is so important. So in conclusion, I'll reiterate, we put the motion here today, not because we don't acknowledge that there's other child protection measures that the state needs to have in place. We do need to ensure we put a focus there. We need to focus on child abuse within the home or by trusted family members or friends of the family in the off-web services. But we need to make sure that child abuse material that continues to be traded and transmitted over the internet is blocked. The fact that a child knows or believes that images of their abuse remains and continues to be spread on the internet can lead to a huge feeling of helplessness. And I believe it is our absolute, we must do this. We must say to children, we do not accept these images on the internet. We do not accept what has happened to you. And send a clear signal that we want to prevent any further publication of these images. And that is why, that for me is the real reason behind this motion, is child abuse images are there. Irish people are looking at them, and we need to block it. And when we block it, what will come up is a simple page to say, this is illegal. You can email this, because we need to ensure it's transparent and in line. You can email this. They did this in Norway, New Zealand. How many emails did they get? 0. Thank you.
Senator O'Donnell to second the motion.